So we are very excited to have one of our own presenting this morning. It's a little bit of a different format for us because this is more of a content matter specialist, and this is part of what entrepreneurs can take away to grow their success and part of that support system that we have here in Lake County. So I'm going to introduce Mr. Harry Spaight with Selling with Dignity. He has over 25 years of experience in this realm, and he has a book, he has a podcast, and he looks mighty fine in a fedora. Mr.
This is
Harry
what I look
Spaight.
like without a fedora. Great to see you guys. All right, are we awake? Excited? We're going to learn something. This is in a town hall format. I don't know, has anyone been in a town hall quorum discussion? It's one of those things. So this is all about helping you to be better at sales and participating. So that the more we participate, the better this will be. We'll take away something. And there are forms that you could fill out. Today's topic is about your ideal client profile, not for marketing, but for sales. So if you've heard of the ICP, many will get into all kinds of details. What kind of movies does this person want? What's their favorite meal? Action and prime rib, for those of you who are keeping track. But for sales, it's a little bit different. And the reason I say that is because we are looking for groups of people that we can call on and build our list of people for our community that we can serve, and hopefully they will buy stuff from us. So my background is mentioned here a little bit. Just so you know, I did mission work before I got into sales. And when I got into sales, I was reading books, and I didn't really understand that the pressure that came with selling and working for a company that wanted you to sell with quotas, with numbers, and it started out pretty bleak for me. So for the first several months, I was in last place on a team of about 20-ish people. Zeros every month going up on the board because that's, the public humiliation is good in those places. So every morning I'd walk in, see my name at the bottom of the list, no business. So I was eventually put on a plan, told to shape up or we're going to ship you out. And before long, I started to sell, but I did it through a servant's heart. I did it with the desire to help people, not to put pressure on them. That took off, and I viewed sales in my approach as the opposite. So for those Seinfeld fans, instead of tuna on rye, it was egg salad on wheat. So I just did the opposite of what everyone else did, which was I'm going to talk less, listen more, and I'm not going to be real eager about making a sale because that looks gross, and I don't want to look gross. So far, so good. So this stuff works. I eventually became a sales leader and a VP of sales for a publicly held company in Washington, D.C. And this is a guy that started out getting on a performance plan, and people saying, we're not sure if this is for you. So it all worked out. But then eventually I decided to write a book and share that you don't have to be gross to sell, that it can be very natural and fun along the way. So in today's thing here about your ideal client, does everyone have a form in front of them? I didn't bring pens, but if you have the form and you don't have a pen, you can figure it out with your phone and maybe take a picture, you type the answers, whatever. But I think you're going to walk away with something that's super helpful. So the real takeaway here is that you're going to be able to look at this and say, I now have an ideal client profile. And for those of you who already have one, maybe there's a different aspect of your business that is, maybe you've got B2B on one form, and maybe it's business to business, and another one is for the general consumer. Maybe it's for the entrepreneur. Maybe it's for a nonprofit. So you're just kind of identifying who is your target here. Make sense, Gio? Are we good? All right, cool. So here's the first question that, not trying to offend anybody, but if I asked you what you do most of us are going to say things like, I'm a sales coach, I'm an attorney, I sell insurance. Okay, so this is how we are, it's what society has told us what we need to say. It's our identifier is what we do. The problem with that is it doesn't let people know what problem it is we solve. So for someone who says, I am a financial planner, we have a certain thought that goes through our mind, right? We know what a financial planner is according to what we think is a financial planner. But if the financial planner were to say, I help families or I work with families that are looking for more security in the future, now what are you thinking? You now went from, I think I know what this person does, to now I understand that they work with families and they help for their security for their financial future. So this is going to be, think about what the problem you solve. I don't think the person is here. If they are, a person came in several months ago, and I thought it was an interesting thing that they sold. They gave me a flyer, and they said, I sell attic fans. Does anyone know what an attic fan is? Okay, not a lot. So I said, what is an attic fan? And he says, well, you put fans in your attic. Okay, so I'm thinking here as a sales coach, it's like, all right, that's not getting enough attention. What is the benefit of having an attic fan? And he says, well, it'll keep your house cooler. Okay, what else? He says, well, it will lower your energy costs. Okay, great. So instead of saying, I sell attic fans, maybe you could say something along the lines, how does this sound? Just spitballing here. I work with homeowners, helping them reduce their energy costs and keeping their house cooler. Would you be interested in hearing how? Or, I sell attic fans. Great, I'm not in the market for attic fans. See the difference? One is opening the door for a conversation, the other one is pushing me away because I'm not in the market. We can do this without even thinking that we're doing it. Because we lead with what we sell, and people immediately say, I don't know if you've ever done this, we immediately say, I am not in the market, or I'm not interested, or I'm all set right now. Those pretty common? Okay, so we want to avoid that with having better conversations, and understanding what our business solves is part of it. Some people will say, everybody is a prospect. Why do you think I have a calendar as my image here? Any thoughts? Jim?
Limited time.
Exactly. It's like, do you want to waste a lot of time, or do you want to get right down to business and start working with people that can pay you? I say I'd rather work with people who can pay me than trying to figure it out and spend months and years trying to figure all of this out. Are we good, Monica, so far? Resonating? So Monica understands she's got to have a target. Who am I calling on? Because she and I have had this conversation. So the benefits of a crystal clear ideal client is if you're talking to the right people, it's not gross, number one. They understand why you're speaking to them. So I have a friend who I am in his ideal client profile. I do sales coaching. He does coaching, but he coaches coaches. So he calls me every 90 days, and all he does is says, hey, Harry, it's Joe. Just checking in, seeing how things are going, seeing if you need anything. Do I love that call from Joe? No, because I know why Joe's calling. He's calling because he knows I am a potential candidate. But it's not painful. He makes it really easy. He says, I'm out here if you need anything, and that's pretty much it. But he knows if he talks to the right number of people that fit that ICP, right? People who are coaches, people that can pay his fee are his ideal client, and people who are looking to improve. So that's his ideal client. I'm honored that I'm somebody's ideal client. Okay, so we're going to get more yeses in that group. we'll be able to, I heard someone say, can we do this for 50% less or can we do it for free? Those are not ideal clients. Those are bargain shoppers. Bargain shoppers are not necessarily good for you unless you're right off in the beginning, but eventually that becomes a drain. And when you have to go visit a client or work with somebody and you know you're not getting paid or paid enough, what's your attitude? Yeah, it's not good, right? It's gross. It's like, oh, I got to go spend whatever, a bunch of hours time with a person that's not even paying me for my value. That's not fun. So picking our ideal client is going to help, is going to be people with money. And then, of course, when we're working with people like this, there's less opportunity, less likely that we'll burn out. We tracking over here, Caesar? Jose, we good? All right, good deal. All right, so in my experience, so when I was starting out in sales, I didn't really know all of this. So I was selling $50,000 color printers, similar to Xerox machines, and I was calling on everybody. I didn't understand that a hairdresser wasn't going to spend $50,000 on a printer. I mean, why? It's like, it makes perfect sense. I found that corporations that were doing marketing and advertising had a need way more than the hairdresser did. So I said, once I found that out, it's like, I'm going to spend more time with these people because they need what I have and are willing to pay for it. Maybe there would have been a hairdresser out of 1,000, but again, go back to the calendar. Do you want to be searching for days and days and days for the needle in the haystack, or do you want to be around a group of people consistently that can buy what you're selling? I choose the latter. So this concept here is really, I want you guys to help fill this out. And so the first thing is, someone help me here. What type of person, business, or organization are we targeting in your business? Feel free.
Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs, okay? That would be one. Who else?
Anybody that owns a small to medium-sized business.
Okay. All right. Small to mid-sized business. What else? Filmmakers, okay? All right. Good. So we're starting to narrow it down. What else?
Investors.
Investors, okay? Investors, so let's just take investors because I know Betsy's thick-skinned. If we wanted to narrow it down to make our niche, right? There's niche and niche. I still don't know which way to go. Riches are in the niches for those people. Riches are in the niches. It just doesn't sound right. So I'm going to go with riches and the niches. So we're going to call them niche today. So if you narrow down your niche and have a smaller group to call on, instead of 3 million, it's now 300, it's better for you because you can have multiple conversations, multiple touch points with the 300. So for the investor, say you're looking for an investor, how would you narrow that down?
If it's a small to medium-sized business, I'm probably not going to look for a venture capital firm with millions.
Exactly. So there's the VCs out there, the venture capitalists that are looking for $100 million, $500 million companies, and some that are looking for $2 million companies. They're not the same. So they have different systems, different conversations, and so forth, different risks. They have different teams that are going to research the business, and so forth. But knowing that helps you to minimize the wasted time if you're looking for the $2 million investor versus the $500 million investor. Saves a lot of time and a lot of heartache. All right, so let me just check what the next slide is here. Okay, so this kind of helps here. So we got to figure out, just going back here, are we, whoopsie. Okay, so are we calling on businesses? Are they the ones that are going to buy what we're selling? Are we calling on the solopreneur? Are we calling on the consumer? So think through this because you've got to know. And if you don't know, then again, it's wasted time. So we want to nail this down. What type of organization are they? 10 employees? Or is it a large nonprofit, small nonprofit? Is this a startup? 2 employees? 50 employees? Can we serve those people? So you've got to answer all of these questions. So what stage or how established are they? What does this mean, do you think? What is the benefit for this? I got Tina as the only one helping out here. So is someone else, we got some other people that want to participate? I could use some help. Tina?
Okay, so I'm trying to find a dreamer. Someone has an American dream in their heart. So I talked to them about what is your American dream? If you had $1 million, what would you do and why? And
Okay.
then I decided to start. I always feel that it's grant money. Or they really have a $2 million business already and need to make it happen. So I connected with all of people.
All right, cool. Nathan, did I see your hand? All right. So you're looking for retired, okay. Retired with money, or does it matter?
That's a very complicated question.
Money's always good.
Yes, money's a positive, but it's amazing what you find.
Okay. Right. But so you get the idea, right? So one of the things that I look for is, can the person I'm speaking to, can they afford what I charge? Will they see the value in it? So I know Jackie does websites. Jackie, are there people that do websites for virtually nothing?
Yep.
Do you do websites for virtually nothing?
Nope, no sir.
Okay. So when you're speaking to somebody that needs a website, what are you kind of asking or trying to figure out here in the conversation so that you're not talking to someone that's looking for close to free?
We look at exactly what you're saying. What stage are they at? What is their growth potential? What are their goals? Do they have a current website and they're just looking to transfer, or are they do they need to start fresh? And what do they need in a website? Is it something that we can build at our rate, or do they need something that is like an Amazon type thing that we don't touch and then we can refer out?
Love it. So if you saw somebody that was brand new in business, didn't know what they were doing, thought they needed a website, weren't sure they had the money for it, and they were speaking to you, would you say that's a hot one for me?
Absolutely not, but we would be happy to offer some education and guidance and help get them to the point where they're ready to become our ideal client.
Yes. When you're teaching a prospect, you have to be prepared for letdown. The reason I say that is they don't understand yet your value. And by you teaching them, you're opening up their eyes. It's education. But do you have time to educate the world on that?
Time is money.
Yeah, time is money. And you think again about the calendar. Do I want people that already know that they have a problem or can figure it out pretty quickly in a conversation? I can ask them a few questions. Or do I want to teach every prospect this is what they need and why they need it? And you spend an hour and they say, well, yeah, I guess I do need something like that. Are they a market? Are they going to buy? Probably not. This is, again, figuring out what stage are they in. Make sense? We breathing? We good? Okay. So small business, maybe more than 10 employees, maybe more than 2 million in revenue, trying to figure out our sweet spot. How do we figure out our sweet spot if we've been in business for a little bit? Nathan?
You test, you evaluate the results, you then test again, you evaluate the results, and then it's that Olympic commercial thing that had the weird monotone voice. That was test, 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 results, and then you retry. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you. Jim, I saw your hand. Or, I'm sorry, Doug?
you look at your current clients and identify what the top 2 or 3 or 4 clients are, and then try to clone them.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I've done it over the years, is kind of look at my pile of clients and say, these are the ones I like to work with. This is where I've had the most fun and most reward financially and relationship-wise. So that could work for you.
Harry, I say your word is your bond. So if you make a promise to me or I make a promise to you, I'll make good on it. But if you keep breaking the promises, then you know what? Maybe it's end game for that promise.
Yeah, that's good. So again, fits in with the ICP. If we're constantly chasing them down, they're constantly saying, I don't really have the money for you this week or this month, or I'll get you next time, and we're trying to collect, doesn't fit, right? So we start looking at signs, and if someone, like I think Jackie said earlier, I've had 3 companies and none of them were able to do this. It's like, well, are they all 3 companies bad? I mean, is that the chances? Or is it maybe you're kind of hard to work with? So easy to work with, right? Good attitudes, positive people, go-getters. Start filling in some of your ICPs. So like a friend of mine who is a coach, he says, I want to work with people that are, looking at their second career, positive, go-getters, and are willing to make change. See how it's like, whoa, now we're getting into details, because he was around people that weren't willing to change. I'm going every week, having the same conversation, they're still doing nothing. Sort of like I was talking to a guy who does physical therapy. He said, I asked, well, do your patients normally do all these exercises? Is there an easier way? He said, no, most don't. They come here as their only exercise, but they're not exercising during the week. Has this ever happened with you, Angie? Where they don't do the work? So if you're in that business, people doing the work and healing faster are going to give you better referrals and testimonials. Okay, what else do we have here? What's the problem they're trying to solve? Probably they are looking for something that's something that you can help with. So what's the problem you solve? This is what you need to know. It's not, I sell life insurance, right? I sell windows. That's not enough. Why do people buy windows? Why are people looking for life insurance? It's a big difference. And then if you can speak to their pain. Let's see. Does anyone here do security? Glenn sort of does security. When are people concerned? Glenn, be ready here. When are people concerned about breaches in their network?
They're always concerned after the fact when it's too late.
Exactly, right? So this is a problem that we need to talk about to educate. We don't want to educate the world, but we can educate in our social media, we can educate at events, we can educate when we speak, we can educate when we go to a network event, and we have 30 to 60 seconds, we can educate. Instead of saying, I do IT services or manage IT, taking 30 to 60 seconds to educate the audience about what the risks are of security breaches. Now you become the guy or the gal that people know and say, that Glenn guy knows his stuff. If I have an issue or I need to talk to him or my business is growing, I need to talk to Manatee IT Services. All right, next, what's the result? Do you know what result people want? Jim? Very simple, right? This is it. Can you solve my problem? What's the problem? You got to know the problem, and then you can ask, this is a great question. Jim probably asked this. If we do this, and everything gets solved, what will your life be like 3 months from now, if it's a quick solution? What will it be like a year from now if it's longer term? If you have to work with someone for a year. If you're putting in windows, maybe it's 3 months. If you're working through life change and it's now a year, what will your life be like? What is the benefit of asking a question like that?
Quick. Oh,
Wait a second, Tina. Tina, I know you're always going to have your hand up, so I will call on you,
I
but I
know.
want others to have a chance
Oh,
here.
you're good.
So I think it's just knowing if their goals are realistic or not, and if you can help them to get to those goals.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be one thing. So getting realistic goals, sir?
Yeah, conceptually, I think you've been doing the right thing, obviously. My question is that who decides, you or the business owner, for example, on what they should expect out of what you're teaching?
Good question.
Any idea? So I was looking at this.
Yeah.
And my point is trying to make it so it's easier on you as the sales guy and the business or person that you're trying to sell. Because obviously, I don't need 4 shoes to wear because I only have 2 feet. Okay, so we're not going to talk to him. Now, on the other hand, what if he is capable of jumping 17 feet on a running post takeover? Then he's a world success because he could do that. As soon as that is too old to do that, he might as well be having 4 feet.
Okay, so what's the question here? I'm sorry.
The point I'm trying to make is how do you get a potential client to want to sit with you? What's the most explosive thing you can tell that guy without making it up?
Yeah, so the approach that I would have is through conversations. So I'm the opposite world about anything that's explosive, that's promising, I'm cautious of that, right? That's the thing that I'd be very cautious of.
Do you know that 85% of people who own businesses that are not top 100, top 500, top 5,000, whatever it is, the local guy that has a business that he needs to eat and needs to sell stuff, no one's taught that person how to be part of that industry of any kind. So they had to learn or they fail. There's nothing in between. You can't be mediocre and try and sell clothing to somebody who doesn't wear any clothes.
Okay.
And I visit that spot a lot. Anyway,
get you.
from a standpoint, I'll get out of your way here. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're fine. You're fine.
At the end of the day, for example, I've trained over 5,000 salespeople in my lifetime in 7 different countries. Now, I didn't teach them to be salespeople. I taught them how to be better people.
Yeah.
Now, with that in mind, take that down to that one guy who thinks he's better than you, but you've got all the right answers. That guy can still win. He just has to target a different category. And what you've done so far, in my opinion, all good stuff, is that I don't think it's specific enough sometimes based on what you're looking for from your client. What are they looking for from you?
Yeah.
Now, the last thing I said, there's a guy on the radio all the time that claims he's the greatest sales trainer in the history of the planet. Good for him. I'm guessing he has 4 feet. So at the end of the day, this guy says the first thing he does is he doesn't teach you. 9 out of 10 people that are salespeople that have never read a book cannot be a good salesman. You know why? Because you can't teach somebody how to sell by reading a book. And yet they're all over the place. Yeah. How to be a good salesman. You've got all the information to do that, but I don't know how it's put together to where you can have impact on little guy and on big guy.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly the question he's asking right now, and I think what result do they want in 3 months from now? If you buy my attic fan, your cost of living overall will be reduced through your electric bill. You will have better airflow for your Christmas decorations in your attic, and you don't have to worry as much about your income because it's, it can go other places rather than to your electric bill because you have better circulation in your attic and your cooling bill is being reduced. So concrete results.
I love it. Did I see another hand? Jackie?
I have one here too. Jackie, go first, yeah.
I appreciate the comment about the books because there are a zillion books out there, but that kind of goes back to what you were saying about finding your ideal customer. I need to find the ideal author who's in line with how I do things. So Harry, you and I do things very similarly. Tom and I are all about relationship building, educating. I tell people all the time, if someone guarantees you're going to come up first in Google, run. The guarantees, the promises, that's not how we work.
Yeah.
That may work for other people. And there are authors out there that will speak to that. The right author for me would be somebody like you. So when you're looking for those resources, it's not just when you're looking for a client, but looking for your mentors, the people that you're going to spend time with, who's going to teach you things. You need to learn this stuff as well and apply it there.
Great stuff. Thank you. Yeah, so just this question here is I'm going to say it's an extremely valuable question. What will your life be like blank months from now when this is? Because it brings in emotion. If you don't know that answer, there's a risk that the person is going to drift away and you can't bring them back. But when you know the answer and they start drifting away, you can bring them back through that conversation. Remember when we spoke about this several weeks ago or a few months ago, what you felt like this was going to be in 6 months? And you bring them back to that place. But that's the value of understanding where this leads. You might have the coolest thing in the world, the most sizzle, but if you don't understand the emotion, and this comes through conversation. Lenka?
It's okay, continue.
No, I'm sorry.
Sorry, if I can add to that. I think the best salesperson is the person who provides value to their client, that their client become their salesperson without them asking. Because there are clients who understand what you provide to them, and they go out and they, in turn, will spread it to their circle and bring clients to you. I mean, that's how I like to that. Education client, your best clients is knowledge, right? If they understand what you provide, the value you bring, they will go out and spread that. And third-party validation is the best
Absolutely. Yeah.
validation. You don't even have to sell. Somebody just bring client to you, say, here, I have a friend, I have a family, please help them because they need you.
Yeah.
And that's the salesperson results that I like to see in 3 months, 6 months, when I have a client that lock in, that they speaking for you instead of you keep going out and telling people.
Yeah, exactly. So referrals are great. So this, just getting back to where we are here, is are we the McDonald's or are we the Ruth's Chris for beef? There's a difference, right? So are we going to be the cheapest in the game when people say your price is so much more than someone else? Then if you're not the cheapest, you've got to have an answer for that. Or you're choosing people that understand that price is not always, low price does not mean quality. Are you going to be the fastest? Are you convenient? Are they buying your expertise? These are the ones I like. Expertise, relationship, results, impact, partner, collaborator, around for life, clients for life. This is the ideal world, understanding that. So when people say, well, your price is more, you can mentally say, you don't have to say, well, my price is the price, right? That's probably not the best answer. But you understand you're not talking to the ideal person here. Ask a few questions, maybe you can get through that, but you know, people talking down in price is not ideal. Sometimes we just have to take those deals, though, in the beginning until we build up our client base. Green flags, things that look good. I'm having a conversation with somebody. What am I looking for? What do you think you're looking for? You're having a one-on-one with somebody. What are some signs that this is the person that's the right candidate? Yeah, Sarah, 2 hands. I need to come over here. There's some people.
Engagement. So basic eye contact. They're paying attention to you. they appear interested, they're providing feedback, and it's a conversation rather than you're kind of lecturing them or telling them what they need.
So how do you feel if you have a 30-minute one-on-one with somebody or whatever, and they talk the whole 30 minutes?
It depends what the goal of that one-on-one was. I mean, if you're
They're
there to
talking about
listen,
themselves, nothing about your business.
yeah, I mean, that's just getting to know you. And in some ways that's fine too, because maybe that's what they needed that day and they're having an issue. And so you're also building that personal relationship and, you know, just being there as a human. So it's not necessarily a wasted time, but sometimes it's frustrating, of course, if that's the point of, you know, talking about the business or working on their goals.
Right. So people generally, Sarah's a great human, but generally that's not what we want in a one-on-one, right? We want some back and forth, we want some conversation, people asking about us generally. I totally get what you said, Sarah, and you just went up even further in my book here as to a quality human being. But when you're prospecting, you're going through sales, you've got to find people that are going to ask questions. They're interested. They're showing you signs. I see another hand over here by Amber.
So a couple of things. First of all, to answer your question, I somewhat disagree with that, only because in my experience, a lot of the most successful conversations I've had at winning a sale have actually been when the person I'm meeting with does 98% of the talking. If I'm not talking, it automatically instills a level of trust in them because it means that I'm listening to what their needs are. So I think it's kind of a fine line. But the other point I want to make that kind of goes back to a lot of what you've talked about is, and it's kind of twofold, right? We all have to remember that sales is a spectrum, much like anything else in life. And every situation is going to be very different based on what you're selling, what that client's like, your niche, all of those individual aspects of that environment. And then more than that, if you're selling yourself, your business, your product, whatever it is, you are always doing your own proof of concept to make sure that whatever mentors you're using that were mentioned fit your niche or niche, so it fits in with the phrase today, or that you are meeting the needs of the client, asking the right questions, listening to the right things. So I think, like, for me, I'm learning a lot from you today, but my takeaway is also that it's a wide spectrum. Nothing, like anything in life, is one size fits all. You have to identify where you fall on that, who you can listen to, what takeaways you can implement in listening to podcasts and books and all of that. But when I do sales, I talk very little. So for anybody that knows me, that's a rarity. And I find that to be extremely successful because of it gives me so much information about my key person I'm talking to.
Outstanding. I agree with everything you said. When I look at a person I'm speaking with, if they fit in my ICP, I will listen all day and not say anything. Okay, so I don't want to give you the idea that we have to do a lot of talking, because we don't if they're in their ICP. If we're just trying to figure out if this person's a fit and they're talking about their problems, you know, it's on and on and on, and everything is about, they're so self-focused they don't even ask what you do, that's in a different stage, right? That's in we're trying to figure out if someone's a fit for us. That may not be a good fit, is what I'm trying to say. If they're doing all the talking, they don't care about us, our business, what we do, sometimes it's okay if they fit the ICP, and I've done this, where complete nothing out of the conversation, the person asked after 29 minutes and 30 seconds, so what is it you do? I'm like, we'll save that for next time. But the question saved the next time. If he never asked, I probably wouldn't have bothered again. But that question, I knew he was sincere. I could tell. We had another conversation, and now we have got this back and forth relationship. Nathan? What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. Lenka's got her hand up?
Go ahead, Nathan. Go.
Okay.
Go.
Sorry. So I feel like I kind of run into a weird place. I can usually ask 2 or 3 questions on a discovery call, find some significant issues. And if I do find those significant issues, everything shifts from what we were usually going to talk about to what the issues are, because they can't be a client of mine unless we're fixing them. So how do you approach that shift, I guess, in the sales process whenever it's not what they originally came for and also not what you want to talk about either?
So they're not a fit, right? Do I understand that right? You've had the conversation and now they're not a fit in the middle of the conversation? Can you just speak loud, because I see the mic's gone?
They could still be a fit, but they would have to fix the problems that exist in their organization.
Yeah.
Work with,
Okay.
which means they're going to have to change their system, which is not what they came to me for originally.
Yeah. So I'm all about being straight up and honest. So, you know, without knowing the situation, I don't want to give the wrong answer here, but I would, just thinking through this, I'm going to continue seeing where their head's at to see if it's, you know, worth my time and energy, but I want to see if they are still a good prospect for me if they were to do all of this. And I'd be cautious, again, weighing out the value of the person I'm speaking to, because if it's a very low ticket, you know, and it's going to grow maybe in 10 years, I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. If, on the other hand, high ticket, high value, I'm going to dig a little deeper, and then before I start telling them, I'm going to let them get stuff out so that there's a great trust factor, which I'm sure you do anyway.
Harry, we have 2 minutes and we have
okay.
2 more questions.
Okay,
all
so
right.
bear with
Lenka.
me. Lenka, real quick, and I just want to get through this real quick.
Yeah.
We're going to save the questions, but but you go first here.
It's not a question, it's to answer answer to your question right there. What you taught me, and it has made a real big difference in how I approach talking to clients, it's the awareness piece. You taught me that a client needs to be aware that they actually have the problem that you're capable of solving.
100%.
And when that awareness is there, then it's the matter of timing to actually see you as the logical person who can solve their problem. So, you know, there's a problem. 2, I have the problem and I need to solve it. And 3, perhaps you are the person who can help me solve it. And time of building that relationship, well, what will close that deal eventually. So that is how I would answer. And I hope I got some brownie points because it's from you.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, good. So there are red flags as well, things that we spoke about already, but I just want to go through this. So your 1-sentence summary. This is where you can get short and sweet. My ideal client is somebody with X amount of dollars for me that can afford my services. They are X amount of time in business, whatever that is, who are struggling with onboarding, struggling with trying to figure out their payroll, whatever that is, and wants whatever it is that you're selling, right? Whatever that solution is. So that's ideal. So now in your networking, because this is on your form, but when someone says, what does he do? You're standing up at a network event, you say, my name is Harry Spaight. I work with businesses that are looking to grow their sales and are struggling, who need growth and are looking for help so that they can focus on growth and their sales team prospers. Just made that up, but you get the idea, right? Because you've got to have that answer. So when you're standing at a network event, and if you say, I sell windows, you're pushing away everybody. If you say, I am looking for, or I work with families, I work with retired people, and you're now labeling who you're looking for, that gets our eyes open, helps us with the problem that you're solving, and the outcome. It's like all this is going on in our mind saying versus, I already know a financial planner, I don't need to hear. See the difference? So hopefully all of this helps. I can tell by the feedback there's some good stuff here if you guys want to follow me on LinkedIn, but that's all I've got. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thanks for participating.
Let's go back to Harry's contact information here, because I do think there are going to be those after connections and some follow-up that needs to happen. So Harry taught us all how to think about clients and ideas and how you can be of benefit to those clients. And you can do it all without being gross if you're intentional and you're well-versed in not only your product, but how you can eliminate a need or a problem or help a need for your ideal client, right?
Right. And Harry, Derek would like to talk to you later about that, and I'd like to talk to you about attic fans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So,
Thank you.
photo.
So one more QR code for you to scan. Make sure you get Harry's information if you have connections for afterward.